where an Indian-American woman who, along with her husband, had been the inspiration behind Shahrukh Khan's film Swades. Well, she was stopped and asked by people if she was in the United States illegally, an incident which comes amidst rising fears over President Donald Trump's immigration policies. Arvinda Pillalamarri, 47 years of age, was walking in a Bel Air neighbourhood on the morning of December 21st, a routine with her, when she said she was stopped by a Bel Air Police Department officer, a report in the Baltimore Sun said. Pillalamarri, who was born in India but moved with her parents to the United States when she was young, was asked by the police officer about what she was doing, and she replied that she was walking. The officer continued to ask several questions. When she asked why the officer was asking her so many questions, he replied because someone had called the police.
So one day, as I was taking my morning walk, I was stopped by the Bel Air Police and asked what I was doing. I replied that I was just walking. The officer asked where I lived. As I was only a short distance from my home, I pointed towards it. When he asked my name, I asked why I was being questioned, and he said that someone had called the police. Walking while brown, I asked. He said, no, nothing like that. Someone might have been concerned that I was lost. I asked for his card, which he gave me, and I reassured him that I was not lost. I also said, I respect that you are doing your duty, and we really appreciate the work the police department does. We hear about it at town meetings. I don't have a problem giving you my name, but I would like to know what my civil rights are in this situation. A supervisor arrived and asked me what was happening. I related what happened up to that point, reassured him that I was not lost, and asked if I was free to go. He said, no, because you are under criminal investigation. I was very surprised by this. I asked for his card. He said, after you show me your ID. As I had just come out for a walk, I had not carried my ID with me. Why don't you have ID, he asked. Are you here illegally? I again asked for his card. He said, after you give me your name. At this point, I gave my name and date of birth, and after they looked it up in their system, they allowed me to go. He did not give me his card, and I did not ask again.
Well, in fact, Brigadier Mahalingam, Strategic Affairs Analyst, is still live with us in our studios. But very quickly, I want to get in Geeta Mohan, Foreign Affairs Editor, who is also joining us live at this point. Geeta, Aravinda Pillalamarri there narrating her ordeal. All this, of course, just once again reiterates the fears of the minority community, under a Donald Trump administration. This lady, of course, Aravinda, who also inspired, the Bollywood movie Swades, says that she, only felt that she was being discriminated about when that question was asked to her as to whether she was living in the United States illegally just because of the way she looked and just because a call had been made against her.
Well, the situation on the ground is changing a lot in the United States of America. Look at the executive order of President Donald Trump. There is a certain amount of fear that now has been instilled in various communities and races. This is a woman who's worked, who's contributed a lot when it comes to Indo-US ties, when it comes to her contribution in the development work in India. And she is an Indian American. To be singled out only because a neighbor called, and then to be asked whether she's an illegal immigrant, goes to show that while the police chief of Bel Air might want to insist that it is that it's just a case of being insensitive and not racial profiling, it certainly talks volumes of the kind of racial profiling that we're seeing now and that we might see in the coming future. That we have been discussing this through the morning, and I have been telling you this, that this is not the only case. This is only a recent case. There are cases of men pulling up women, saying that wearing scarves, saying that you will have to suffer the consequences of the manner in which, or the community that you belong to, and you will be shunted out. The executive order by President Donald Trump is no less. Although a federal court has put a stay on that order, it is only temporary. Look at the kind of reaction that we're seeing from Google CEO Sundar Pichai. The entire IT and service sector will be taking a hit. They have pulled out and have asked all their employees who are outside of the US to return, and now they're leaving the projects midway and going back to the United States of America only because they're either of a particular origin or were born in a particular country, and because of the ban in those countries, these people are going back.
Brigadier Malingam, how do you react to this? You're hearing, of course, the audio that Aravinda is narrating there in that soundbite of hers that we've just played out, and you've, of course, heard of this incident that we're reporting. What is your first comment, sir? What is your first reaction?
First of all, we must understand she is an Indian-American citizen.
Yeah.
In other words, she is a citizen of United States, and she comes under the United States law and their rules and regulations. Having said that, I must say that we as a democratic country, a freedom-loving country, we are only concerned about the citizenship rights of a citizen and the way a particular individual is treated and the human rights issues. This is precisely what I want to say. The second thing about the whole thing is, as far as the police constable is concerned, we must understand he must have been given certain orders by his superior officers in the state through various channels, and he is only acting on it. If he has been told to check without proper instructions, without how to go about it, when to go about it, what to check, what not to check, I'm afraid he can do nothing. Nothing is written and pasted on the face of an individual to say whether she is an immigrant, illegal immigrant, whatever it is. Therefore, we cannot find blame on them. The point we must understand, Donald Trump, after taking power, he has come heavily on the immigrants.
Yeah.
And in fact, he has told the various cities that he will suspend or sanction grants on those states which do not check the illegal immigrants and who acts as a sanctuary for illegal immigrants. That is a very major issue in as far as the cities and states are concerned.
Okay.
Therefore, they would have passed on orders, but then people have not analyzed the issue, not given full-fledged instructions to the beat constable to say how to go about it, when to go about it. They have not given any instructions.
Obviously, as you're saying, Brigadier Malingam, they've not been briefed adequately, and that's why, of course, it turned out to be quite an offensive, questioning that this woman had to face there. I think Geeta wanted to also come in, but before I go to her, Ijaz Ilmi of the Bharatiya Janata Party is also joining us now, NewsX. Ijaz Ilmi, how do you react to this incident? This woman there facing a humiliating ordeal just because she said she looked different and just because one of her neighbors decided to call the police.
Well, it can look different, and it doesn't mean that you have to be subjected to humiliation. It's an issue of illegal immigration. They can handle it, but ability to determine that can be done in a more sensitive manner. This paranoia can't spread, and you can't just haul up anybody just because they appear different. I think the amount of sensitivity required for something like this, it's a case of overreach, and they must be very, very careful so to just prevent a lot of people from getting harmed in this manner. These
are the fears that, some members of the minority communities have, Ijaz Ilmi, of living in a presidentship of Donald Trump, based on, the election rhetoric that he's come out with.
People who are legal citizens or legal green card holders, they obviously should not have to bother about such situations. But it's illegal, whether it's Mexican or is a Muslim or from any other community or country. Well, a presidential order affects all of them. But that should be done in a manner which is in accordance with the law, without subjecting to anybody to be demeaned or demonized in such a fashion.
Will the government also look at this incident seriously, Ijaz Ilmi? Will this, will the interests of the Indian American community be part of our dialogue with Donald Trump?
Well, I think every bona fide citizen of any country deserves the requisite rights that the country has for them, and these are obligations. But if a right has been violated, then she should definitely file a case. It's not something that, there'll be citizens from a lot of countries.
No, but will our MEA and the NDA government also take cognizance of this incident? And, have this in mind when they're dealing with Donald Trump, because we can talk about foreign policy and economic affairs, but at the end of the day, if our interests of our, of our own community is being compromised there, then what's the point of a strategic dialogue and a friendship?
Well, the fact is that if they have a policy on illegal immigration, then there's nothing that any country, including India, can do about it. But yes, the mechanism that goes about, and the fact that Indian people of Indian origin, they're harassed like this, and who are legal citizens out there, I mean, that is something that should be taken up bilaterally.
Okay, we leave it there. Ijaz Ilmi, thank you for joining us with the BJP's perspective there. Yes, Brigadier Malingam, you do want to come in, but we have some breaking news coming in on this very story. I want to go straight across to it. ACLU Executive Director has also spoken on Donald Trump's order. He has argued against a Muslim ban by Trump in court.
On day one, after he signed the executive order, we jumped into court, arguing that the court was unconstitutional, that it was un-American, and that it flew in the face of established statutes that we have long regarded in this country. And our attorneys, Legal Alert, and his colleagues convinced the judge to hold all of these movements, all of these efforts to deport individuals who had lawfully come into this country, immigrants with green cards, individuals who had visas. And so this was a remarkable day. What we've shown today is that the courts can work. They are a bulwark in our democracy. And when President Trump enacts laws or executive orders that are unconstitutional and illegal, the courts are there to defend everyone's rights.
Well, this incident, of course, Geeta, comes at a time when Donald Trump anyways has been facing a lot of protests and flack for his decisions and rhetoric. And Hillary Clinton also earlier came out and said she stands with the people who are protesting, of course, and, his values are against the United States Constitution. And now, of course, you have the ACLU Executive Director who's also spoken out on Trump's order.
Well, their ACLU is a non-profit and a non-partisan legal and an advocacy organization that approached and appealed to the federal court against Donald Trump's immigration order, the executive order that he had signed. And the federal court of Anne Donnelly came out and stayed Donald Trump's executive order. It is indeed a huge win. It is a victory for all those who are looking at this order as a ban on a particular region, and people from not just a particular region but also a particular religion. While Donald Trump's team and the White House has come out and said that it's not against any religion, but it is an immigration order. But look at the countries that they're targeting. They're all Muslim nations, and is the reason why there has been a huge hue and cry, a win, a victory indeed for not just ACLU, but for all those who stood against Donald Trump's immigration order. But that does not take away from the fact on what is really happening on the ground. Now, I agree with Brigadier Mahalingam on many counts, but I also beg to differ on one. That while he says that the cops were only doing their duty, the cops have been doing their duty in the past as well. There is a difference in how they're tackling things now. And the incidents are only growing and will continue to grow given the fear psychosis that U.S. is witnessing right now when it comes to colored people and people from various communities and various regions and various parts of the world. And that is the fear that we're discussing today, that this could only be a beginning of a larger issue that faces people and communities from various parts of the world in the U.S.
Yes, because Brigadier Malingam, as Aravinda says there, she was just out for a walk, and sometimes when you're out on a walk, you are not carrying ID, fair enough. But someone can't come up and tell you you're living here illegally. You're an illegal citizen. Brigadier Malingam.
See, the point is this. Yes, I entirely agree with you. Somebody can't come and tell me that where is your identity document when I'm going for a run. I don't obviously carry my identity documents, or in the case of US, the immigration documents on his own self. The point is that the government, the state government particularly, need to clarify and tell the people as to what they need to carry, how they need to react, and what are the citizens' right when confronted with such a situation. And similarly, the police needs to be educated as to how to deal with this issue and how to go with this particular program. That is very, very important. And secondly, now we talked about the Muslim country. As far as at the present is concerned, what has happened is the 7 countries which have been named specifically have been banned. Their people coming to US have been banned for a temporary period of 90 days. And this itself has caused a tremendous sort of a confusion in airports throughout the world.
Yeah.
In fact, what has happened is some of the people who had visas and who had permission to go to US, they have been taken out of the aircraft and told to go home. And such situations have in fact sort of been created. As far as the Muslim issue is concerned, when it comes to Muslim, India is very deeply concerned because we have a huge majority of Muslims in our country and they are Indians. Therefore, we need to look at this aspect, and Government of India, when it comes to Muslims, there is no need to preempt issues or react without any purpose. But as and when that comes, Muslims, there is no need to preempt issues or react without any purpose. But as and when that comes, we need to be prepared as to how we need to react to such orders which are coming from US, because Donald Trump is not predictable and one doesn't know what he says and what he intends to do.
Stay with us, Brigadier Mahalingam, because there's further breaking developments coming in on this story. United Kingdom's Prime Minister Theresa May does not agree with Donald Trump's ban on refugees entering the US. That's what she's come out and said. Theresa May does not agree with Donald Trump. She has denounced the ban on immigrants. Geeta Mohan is still live with us. Geeta, Theresa May coming out and saying she disagrees with this policy. It's quite interesting given that she just met Donald Trump a few days back.
Well, that's right. Theresa May's spokesperson, in fact, there had come out and made the statement on behalf of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom that they completely disagree with this executive order of President Donald Trump. Not just that, the immediate neighbor of America, Canada, and Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, has also come out, not just saying that they disagree, but they've come out with an entire campaign saying that refugees are welcome in Canada. He's gone on to explain that these are refugees who need our help at this point in time, that they are in need of humanitarian aid, and Canada will not stop them from coming into Canada. So it's not just UK and Theresa May and European nations that actually have suffered the brunt of not just a huge influx of refugees, but more so to do with the fact that what Donald Trump has been talking about and has not suffered, many European nations have already suffered that many terrorists in the name of humanitarian aid have entered Europe. The reason why Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, has had so many problems in the recent past. Her popularity ratings have gone down only because she continues to adhere to the idea and fact that humanitarian aid and welcoming refugees cannot be something that these countries should stop. So we are seeing reactions from across the border, not just Theresa May, Justin Trudeau, the immediate neighbor, coming out and saying refugees welcome in Canada.
True. In fact, we're getting breaking updates coming in right now. But before that, I'm being told, Shrilkant Sharma is joining us on NewsX. Shrilkant Sharma, how do you react to these developments? First, on the incident that we've reported on this woman, Aravinda, and the ordeal that she faced. What is your comments, sir? What is your reaction?
No, it is disturbing, but the details have to be known also, because sometimes the internal security people in the US do racial profiling, so they do check up. So it's like, you have to see it like this, that sometime at the airport, they take you out separately.
But is that correct? Is that correct, Shrilkant Sharma? Because at the end of the day, she wasn't entering the United States. She was in her neighborhood, going out for a walk, and just because a call was made, she was stopped and asked, are you living in this country illegally?
It is very disturbing, very disturbing.
Yeah, and do you believe, of course, okay, we'll have to leave it at that because I'm being told we are absolutely out of time. So I'll thank you there, Shrilkant Sharma. Thank you for joining us. Also thanks to Geeta and Brigadier Mahalingam, who joined us over the last half an hour or so. Well, we're going to take a short break on that note. Up next, our special interview with Shahrukh Khan and Nawazuddin Siddiqui, the stars of Raees. Don't go anywhere. That's up next.